Hi, my name is Tanya Trotter, and I'm Create Birmingham's Communications Specialist. If you follow us on social media or receive our newsletters, thank you. Part of what I do at Create Birmingham is interview and shine a spotlight on our creative community's makers, movers, and shakers. I love getting to meet so many innovators and doers, diving deep into why they do what they do, what inspires them, and the impact they hope to make in our city and my hometown. I'm so proud to be a part of this incredible city and its creative class, and I miss getting to sit down with you over coffee or a meal and just have a conversation about imagination, passion, purpose, and drive, all qualities our interviewees share. As we shelter in place, we are all learning to adapt for the time being and maybe even evolve our mindsets and practices to be better in the future. We at Create Birmingham are doing that too. So while we miss the beautiful photographs and written stories about the people who make our city great, we plan to continue to spotlight Birmingham's creatives with informal virtual conversations during this time. We hope you will continue to follow along and maybe excuse our technical difficulties and the hiccups that come along with learning new skills. I'm not a video editor. But we definitely want to bring you something informative, fun, positive, and hopefully inspiring while we all stay home. Thanks for tuning in and continuing to support us. We love Birmingham and we love you too. Today I'm excited to interview Hannelore Melville. She's a personal chef and her business is Wild Ginger. She's a Co-Starters graduate, so we're excited about that. And we're talking about, obviously this is much less formal interview than we would normally do. And I'll be completely honest that I'm not really comfortable in front of the camera, but we're all doing our part. And we're excited to talk to Hannelore today about shifting during quarantine and what it means for her small business, how she is working through that, helping others work through and learn how to cook for themselves, and kind of work-life blend, how it all fits together. You're also a mother, so I think a lot of what's been going on shifting wise for people is having their children home all day. And on that note, I would say I'd love to hear about how you have shifted from, maybe tell everybody a little bit about how you worked before and how you're working right
So, there's a lot of meal services and there's places that you can get a lot of takeout. But for me, what's really important is that food nourishes more of our spirit than just our body. And so, I remember seeing something Anthony Bourdain said about how we all eat to recapture our childhood. Hopefully, it was a pleasant childhood, but that like all of us want to find the the solace and the comfort and the security that we enjoyed as children when the world was kind of uncomplicated, hopefully. And so we try to, those are the kinds of foods and those are the experiences that we try to recapture when we eat. And for me, to be able to prepare something for someone and remember my clients, likes and dislikes, whether it's you don't like cheese or you hate eggplant or whatever, but that there's been this action of someone taking time to make something specific for you. It wasn't just Monday and you had the choice of eating, those five things. It was menu items that are really tailored to my clients and offer them. It's not the same as their mom or grandma or whoever cooked for them as children, but it is something that someone has intentionally and deliberately made specifically for them. And in that way, they can feel that love and care and nurturing that I think that food should be. So that's kind of what I normally do, and trying to find how to do that without actually cooking for people right now is a challenge. So I've
So
started a blog.
just
Go
to
ahead.
just to clarify for people who aren't current clients, you've made a difficult decision to
Mhm.
stop preparing food for people and delivering it for the time being.
Correct. I It really took a lot of thought, and weighing pros and cons, because yes, everyone's kind of trapped in their home and this is the perfect time to bring food to them. But there's so much unknown risk wise with this current illness and this current crisis that I couldn't, in good conscience and in all ethics, like be preaching the stay at home, stay at home, stay at home, and then still be out functioning in the world. And it just, I couldn't ensure my own well-being and safety and that of my family and my clients, knowing that I'm going in and out of all sorts of places and unable to control all of those variables. So yes, I made a really, really hard decision because I have a very young business that's only 3 years old. Um, and so it was really, really tough, but I want, I, I just want, just as I nurture people with food, I want them to understand that this was a decision also with their health and well-being in mind. It wasn't just something that I just was like, I just don't feel like doing this.
Right.
So
Well, I think that there are a lot of people who are finding themselves in the same boat, whether it was a conscious decision or whether it
mhm.
was out of their control, and definitely appreciate your honesty in explaining how you came to that decision. Um,
Yeah.
so tell me a little bit about what you're doing now.
So I started a blog called In the Eat of the Moment. And so because I feel like we're just kind of in this crisis, like, it's not that I don't think any of my clients can actually feed themselves, but it's tough for me. This is a tough situation for us. Like, oh, I don't, I'm trying to not go to the store every day. I'm trying to use what we have and keep it fresh and interesting. And I mean, my children are older right now, but we're sick of chicken. We're sick of those things. We still open the refrigerator from time to time or the pantry and think, what am I going to do with all of this stuff? So, and I'm a professional. So I've started a blog to kind of share some comfort foods and some easy things, because I keep seeing lots and lots of articles about how to best use our time now that we're all stuck at home, and we can clean out closets and redecorate the bathroom and learn a new language and master sourdough. I don't know what this whole like concept is with sourdough, but it's a thing. And apparently peanut butter bread. I don't know. It's all over Reddit. But and I just feel like it's adding more pressure at this moment when we're already so stressed because there's so much in our lives that is out of our control. And so I think, as hard as it is, even for me, to to just, let's focus on the essentials. Let's focus on getting through today and making sure that my family is safe, making sure my family is loved, and making sure that I'm okay and in like at peace and not as stressed and trying to overtax and overburden myself. And there are also people who are now used to working in an office who are now at home with small children and animals, and maybe not all the space to spread out. So you're on top of each other and everyone's trying to school and work in a new environment, and you can't find your stapler because you didn't bring your stapler home, and all of those stresses. Oh, and then you have to feed everybody 3 meals a day. So I'm putting together, like, just like I said, some things that keeping the Anthony Bourdain kind of concept at the front of my mind. My first post shared 2 recipes that use really basic, common things that most people have in their fridge to make just like 2 really simple meals, but that are ones that we have certainly eaten 100 times in my children's lifetimes, and giving people just like tips, and also reminding them, don't overcomplicate this. Like, if mastering sourdough is your thing that you can escape from all the other stress and you can find it therapeutic and centering, go for it. It's awesome. Um, but don't feel like you've got to. So those are the things. And so my next blog will talk about sheet pan cooking. And there's so many things. It's so simple. And it's like it's one pan, and you can do breakfasts, you can do desserts, you can do entire dinners in basically like one pan. And you don't have to like get the stove all going. You can just put it in the oven. And the same thing for breakfasts. So it's, like I said, it's yummy, it's delicious. It's informing people a little bit of like, you don't have to follow a complicated recipe, you don't have to do all of these things. There's just kind of like, assemble some things from column A, B, and C, and it will taste good.
I love that.
So that,
From
yeah.
a personal standpoint, I mean, I'm a mother and I'm busy with work. I'm busy trying to learn how to do the e-learning. And I think a lot of people are in the same boat. Also, another thing is a lot of people are financially insecure right now. We're
Yep.
concerned about how this affects the economy, how this affects our business and finances. So I think there's also this element of, I know previously I might, for a Friday night dinner, I might go pick up some fillets and I like a little, truffle risotto. Maybe not, maybe I need things
Maybe
that
not right now. Right, right.
maybe a little more economical right now, but you don't want to feel like you're like in survival mode either.
Right. Like, rice and beans are delicious, but you can't eat them all the time
Yeah.
unless you really change them up,
Right.
or add some other things. It can't be, which, please tell me no one's eating ramen noodle packages, but if you are, there's ways to fancy those up if you have to. So um,
I was the
but yeah,
ramen in college.
I could never eat those. I didn't grow up eating those. I didn't grow up eating SpaghettiOs, and I had my first taste of those in college, and I thought they were the most awful things. I was like, who eats this stuff? So that was just, you know,
I
we'll buy the packages and then throw away the little salt packet and just use the noodles and like cook it in broth and maybe throw in some vegetables. It's better.
Oh yeah, there's definitely ways to fancy a store-bought ramen, and then I I love a bougie peanut butter and jelly sandwich too. I haven't
Oh
mastered
yeah.
sourdough, but I can buy some. And then I love like a cashew butter or sunflower seed butter, and like
Mm.
preserves or sliced fruit or compote. Anyway, that's my
No,
cooking
I
prowess.
was on a whole kick. I was on a whole peanut PB&J kick last week, and it was just like I was doing. I think I was making some kind of like peanut sauce, and then I was like, "Oh, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich would be so delicious right now." And it was like you had just said, "Have some truffle risotto," and I made it, and I was just like, "This is amazing. This is so good." So, and I saw a tip of putting, like, taking regular bread and making your PB&J,
Mhm.
but putting a piece of toast in the middle. And
What?
so it adds like this little extra crunch. I was like, "Ooh, now that sounds yummy. I'm going to give that one a try."
My dad used to toast our peanut butter and jelly sandwiches when we were little. And so I think that's why, much like your Anthony Bourdain observation, that's my comfort
Yeah.
food, toasted PB&J. Um, so moving on, I want
Yeah.
to talk about, you and I talked a little bit about comfort foods, and I think there's also right now, you talk about what comfort being key and what's okay in the right now, and how that
Yeah.
ties into health and wellness and self-care, because you've said that you think good food is a form of self-care.
Yeah, it is. If it, of course, excess in any direction is not a good thing. So that being said, that kind of caveat being said, um, I think it's good because it reminds it when we have those things that are like uncomplicated and simple, or like we've been having things that I grew up eating and that my grandmother made my children when they were small. And so we've had some of those dishes, which are very specific, like, scrambled eggs and salami and Kaiser Schmarrn and some things like that. But it's it's good because it's kind of like this way of reminding yourself that everything's okay with the world, and that like I can still, it's a very luxurious position to be in, to be able to have those things.
Mhm.
But at the same time, it's a way of restoring yourself. And I think of putting yourself, kind of like centering yourself and reminding yourself of like, yes, there's all this chaos and I'm playing whack-a-mole to try to deal with it, but there's still this core identity of myself is still here, like the person that eats PB&Js, or the person that eats a grilled cheese, and it's delicious and it's good and it's wonderful. And you know if maintaining your strict keto diet helps you feel okay and in control of things, then certainly do it. I think that we should all do the things that help us feel more in control of things, as long as, of course, we don't carry it too far. Like, lasagna's delicious. I shouldn't eat the entire pan tonight. You know, controlling my portions is wonderful, but you shouldn't do it to the detriment of your health.
Wait, is that
So
not the point of the pan meal? Pan, pan meal.
depends on how big your pan is. Depends. I mean, if it's this big, knock yourself out. Um, Um, and actually, it was funny. I was making something for clients. I tried to go back to work when all of this happened, and I don't remember what it was. It was like oh gosh, I don't even remember what it was. But I tasted it, and I was like, oh wow, this is really good. And I set some aside, and I portioned it all out for my clients, and then I just kept eating it. And I ended up having to like make a whole other batch because I ended up eating it, which was not the way this is supposed to work. But sometimes you just gotta do that.
Yeah, I think
Everything
I
in
think we've all
moderation.
had a stress eating moment over the quarantine.
Right. And it'll, like, eventually this will settle,
Mhm.
and we can go back to all the things that we were doing. And maybe we realized that maybe we don't need to go back to some of them. I
That
mean, I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, so that's the next point I want to bring up. Sorry, I have realized that in all the Zoom meetings I play with my hair. But and I was going to, when we were trying to make this a live event, I was going to tell people we could play a game of every time I said they had to do something because they realize I say it. But my
It's
so
okay.
my
I'm fiddling with my hands.
my next point is, or thing I want to talk about with you is that exactly kind what we're learning throughout this
Yeah.
experience, and how you think it will affect you moving forward once we come back to some sense of normalcy. My hope in terms of kind of everything, food for sure, but also goods and services, is that I hope people enjoy small indulgences a little bit more and quality a little bit more. When you talked about the grilled cheese sandwich, I mean, when you think about closing your eyes and biting into a grilled cheese sandwich and how that should taste and how that should feel, and how you kind of lose sight of that when you're so
Right.
accustomed to having it all the time. Um,
Right.
so what do you hope this experience allows you to do moving forward, or maybe changes your clients' mindsets, or maybe changes your.
Um, I That's a lot of what I do anyway for them. Like I have the families, the full family the families that I cook for with like little kids and two jobs and things like that. One of the reasons I they get their meals delivered by me is so that they can have more quality time together and enjoy their time together instead of, what I remember when my kids were little sometimes, like it was like you may as well have asked me to walk to the moon to like make sure that everybody was okay and also get dinner on the table. So I I think like I like what you were saying about quantity does hardly ever equates quality. Um and you know I think that maybe people are understanding that quality is more important than quantity, maybe, because I, I I don't know that I'm expressing that well, but like I feel like maybe I will gain some clients who've decided that no, this is something that like is important to us and we do want to have this little bit more of a family time, or we do want to be able that food is going to be the thing that we indulge in, and maybe it's not other things, or maybe it's not being so busy all the time where everybody's running to six different sports and five different groups and all of those things. I had the non-sporting breed, so I don't really know what that's like, um but I think maybe just kind of concentrating on um quality time over things and schedule fillers. I don't know. I think it's going to be different for every person, but I think that that's maybe it.
I love that. I mean, I would say that in this time, there have been so many small stressors that add up to be big stressors. But one thing I have enjoyed is this kind of quieter quality time with my family and
Yeah.
sharing meals, talking over dinner, those little conversations of, you know, how do we want to learn tomorrow? Or what do you,
Mhm.
even having the kids cook with me as kind of like a
Yeah.
lesson. We made banana bread one day, and we talked about yeast and how it helps dough rise. And we experimented like a local beer instead of just water in the batter, and
Yeah.
watched it rise. And it was really interesting. And to me, that's like an applicable science because I'm not a science teacher, but
Well, no, but like that's how we're supposed to learn things.
mhm.
You know what I mean? Like that's how we're supposed to learn stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned. That's how I learned to cook, and why I love to do it is because I grew up with my grandmother cooking. And you know, I still joke that my youngest child, who's 18 now, um, we caught him one morning when he was 3 with the chair pushed against the stove and was making himself scrambled eggs. And we were just like, ah, you're only 3. And he was just like, I can do it. And he was. That's the bad thing. So
Amazing.
yeah, but I mean it's good because I don't know. I think cooking, I mean, I know it's not everybody's thing. I know it is very stressful for a lot of people. I think sometimes it's stressful because they feel too much pressure for it to be perfect.
Mhm.
And it's not perfect. I can tell you, I made some cakes. Whew, I have made some cakes that must have weighed 50 pounds when I was a kid. I've made some duds every now and then. Every now and then, a cheese sauce just breaks, and there's nothing I can do about it. And I try to fix it, and it doesn't work again. And so I have to kind of pitch it, or we eat it, and and I make it new. I mean, sometimes things happen, and so maybe just like maybe forgiving ourselves a little bit, like letting ourselves be human, letting ourselves make mistakes, letting some stuff go.
Yeah.
Maybe
I think
maybe maybe that's
that's a
it.
good life lesson in general, not just for the right now. So,
Yeah, no, exactly.
so I want to do something a little bit fun. Um,
Okay.
I'm in my home, although I've been living in a home I'm renovating, and so there isn't much in my pantry or in my refrigerator. So I have a
Okay.
challenge for you. We're going to look in my pantry and my refrigerator where the light bulb is out too. This is
Okay.
but
It's a,
and I would love to see what kind of meal I could put together with, or what kind of
what
meal
you got?
you advise me to put together with what I have. So we're gonna do
Okay.
a walk. I'll unplug my laptop.
A field trip.
Yes, welcome to my home. Okay, so here's the pantry. Please don't be judgy about my giant
Yeah.
box of fruit by the foot. So
So let's see. Are those spices? And then you've got some like
I have
what's on the
spices
shelf?
I have spices elsewhere.
Okay.
I can take you over there too.
So can you kind of tell me, like, just kind of like point and say, like, this is this, because I can't really see it.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I have steel cut oats. I have
Okay.
pistachios, peanut butter crackers, quinoa, rice, white rice, granola, um, gluten-free lasagna noodles, and then angel hair pasta.
Some nice angel hair. Okay.
I have, let's see, well, Annie's. I have Lipton's golden onion soup mix and alphabet pasta up here, peanut butter, garbanzo beans and black beans, and some tomato and roasted pepper soup. And then we'll take a little walk over here so you can see the spices. Um, let's see if you can see.
Do you have any paprika?
I do not. I have turmeric, nutmeg,
Okay. Do you
cinnamon.
have Do you have some cumin?
You know what? I should have cumin.
Okay.
Maybe not though. I have crushed red pepper and I have tagine and sea
Okay.
salt and black pepper and black magic. Also a co-starters graduate. A little plug there.
Yeah.
And let's
So, okay, I have an idea. So
okay.
let's.
Do you want to look in here?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Wine and kombucha and Gatorade.
What
And
is that? Tomatoes or is
yes,
that strawberries?
tomatoes, basil, and apples and blueberries.
Okay. First of all, you don't ever store your tomatoes in the fridge.
Sorry.
It there's a compound that
Oh, Hannelore, you've frozen.
any eggs.
I do have eggs. Sorry, you froze for a
What
minute
about some?
and came back.
Yeah. So do you have any like frozen vegetables, like maybe some spinach or some greens,
I have
or
cauliflower.
even some lettuce?
I have frozen cauliflower
Okay.
and lots of
You
frozen
could
berries.
lots of frozen what?
Berries, like
Oh.
berries and strawberries.
Okay. So you could you could take that tomato soup
Mm-hmm.
and add the chickpeas and add the cauliflower and some of your spices like the cumin and some garlic if you have that, and maybe some of the tahini a little bit, and make like a shakshuka, and you can just let it simmer so it simmers down a little bit, and
Okay.
then you can put your egg in it and pop it in the oven. And the tomatoes can go in there, or if you had some like some frozen strips of cut peppers, or if you just had a bell pepper or something laying around, or
Okay.
any other vegetable that you had laying around. Even if you had some like arugula, or some kale. You can put that in there and it'll just kind of simmer and reduce, and then crack your egg and put it in the oven. And you've got like a, it's not going to be like the most amazing shakshuka, but it'll be delicious.
Okay, well, I'm
And
going
it'll,
to challenge myself to make this.
okay, cool. You'll have to take a picture and let me know how it turns out.
I will. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. It was a lot of fun.
This was a lot of fun. I hope that we can continue to do these live interviews, or not live, but Zoom. However, we'll end up making
Yeah.
it work. It's something different. It's definitely an exercise in getting outside of my comfort zone.
Right.
Hide behind my writing. But anyway, this is really fun. It feels like we're just kind of hanging out. And
Yeah. Well,
that's
and
like,
if anyone wants to FaceTime me their pantry, I'm happy to help them out with that.
okay, great. And I will include when I post this a link to your Instagram page and your blog and website, which I did read your blog. Very funny, but also great information with simple recipes and really like a wealth of knowledge when it comes to food. So
Oh,
um,
good. Thank
you
you.
have a new fan.
Yay.
All right,
Yay.
thanks, Hannelore.